Under this text of studies by Francis Bacon, uh, we will be focusing on two ideas. I already told you. First one, purposes of study and techniques of reading books. So under purposes of study, why we study, why we go for different courses. First one is to get entertainment. We go for different courses, right? To get entertainment. Next, purpose of study is study serves as an ornament. Study serves as an ornament, or study is done just for ornament. What is it? Ornament. Look, study functions as an ornament for human beings. So when a woman wears different jewels, ornaments, she really looks beautiful. In the like manner, study determines our social status. Study determines our social networks. Study determines our, social relationships. Study determines, how much admiration we get from our friends, family, and relatives. So study serves as an ornament. The course you are going for determines your position in the society. Though people from all the field of study contribute equally for the betterment of the society, but you get respect according to your course of study. You can easily clarify it. For example, those who are going for medicine, those who are going for engineering, certainly have greater respect in the society. They have greater value in the society than the rest. We know that, though it should not be, but it happens because study serves as an ornament. Study serves as an ornament. Study determines our position. Study determines our network. Study determines how much love and respect we receive from our near and dear ones, relatives, members of the family. That happens. So we study to get pleasure. We study because it serves as an ornament. We study, we go for different courses to impress others because it has certain social value. Or we study to bring attention, to develop our social networks, to maintain good relationship with others, right? So study serves as an ornament. Lastly, study is done to gain competency and proficiency. Yes, look, Francis Bacon, you know, includes this idea gaining competency and proficiency. This he includes this at the end. Lastly, according to Francis Bacon, people go for different courses to maintain their social status more than they go for different courses to gain competency and proficiency. Yes, nowadays, your main target is to maintain your social position. People think about that, maintaining social position, maintaining good in networks, and study shops as an ornament, right? So according to Francis Bacon, study is done for three purposes: for entertainment, for it is done because it serves as an ornament, and to gain competency and proficiency in different fields. So Francis Bacon also focuses on benefits of reading different types of books. What happens when you read history? History makes people wise. Poetry makes people intelligent. Mathematics makes people subtle and creative. Reading morals makes us sober and profound. Reading natural philosophy makes us deep and wise and profound. Reading logic makes us argumentative. These are the benefits of reading different you know things, right? What happens when you read philosophy? What happens when you read literature? What happens when you read natural philosophy? What happens when you read poetry, right? These all things, help us for our all-round development. Now, according to Bacon, we don't read each and everything in the similar manner. No, never. We read different textbooks differently, and this method of reading different books um, depends on how sorry, why we are reading that textbook and the nature of that textbook, or nature of that text. Basically, we don't read each and every text in the similar manner. We use different techniques to read various texts. That technique of reading depends on the nature of the text and why we are reading that. Now, according to Francis Bacon, there are some books which are to be tested. There are some books which are to be tested. We read only the part of some of the text and skip rest of the things. For example, when you read novels, when you watch movie, watching movie is also reading. Take reading, the term reading here in the broader sense. So when you watch movie, when you read novels, what you do is you most of the time read parts of them and skip rest of the things. This means some books are to be tested. There are some books which are to be swallowed. You read some books, some texts very quickly, hurriedly. Like, for example, when you read newspapers, you go through some of the information, skip rest of the things. Right? So some books are to be tested. Some books are to be shallowed. Yes, and some books are to be chewed. Some books are to be chewed. We read some of the books with great care and attention. For example, when you read your textbooks while making preparation for the exam, what you do? You chew them. You go through each and everything. You go through each and every exercise, every sentence, every words even. You chew them, right? So some books are to be chewed means we read some books with great care and attention. So there are three techniques of reading. Some books are to be tested, some books are to be shallowed, and some books are to be chewed. Right? So here are some questions. You just go through these questions and try to answer them, whether you can answer these questions or not. Here you can find two questions, and these two questions are the possible questions from this text. Okay. You read out these two questions. You have just a minute. No, not more than that. Just a minute. Okay. Can you answer these two questions? Certainly. Studies
Yes,
shops
sir.
for delight. Yeah, you can write yes. Study shops for delight, for ornament, and for ability. Explain. Some books are to be tested, others to be shallowed, and some to be chewed and digested. Elaborate this statement. You can answer both of these questions. These are repeatedly asked questions too. Okay, now let me take you through another text. That is, uh, what is that text? Use and misuse of science. Yes, this is very common text. You can answer the questions asked from this text even if we don't go through uh, it. But let's have short discussion on use and misuse of science. Whenever you go through this text, use and misuse of science, just focus on two things, three things: how science has been used, how science has been misused, or a single question, how science has been used and misused in the 21st century, right? So you focus on these three questions, or you can take it as just a single question: how science has been used and misused in the 21st century, explain. Right. So I have summarized the text. I have taken some of the ideas. It is not necessary that you depend on these ideas, right? Because you can talk about use and misuse of science. But as a part of summary of the text, I have included, ideas presented in that text in your textbook. This is my duty. Otherwise, you can answer the questions the way you like. No need to depend on whatever I have, whatever the ideas I have listed here, or whatever the ideas the writer presents. Now, use and misuse of science. Let's discuss on this text. Now, uh, let's start with the background. We don't know who the first scientist of the world was. We don't know. If I ask you the question, who is the first scientist of the world, uh, probably you cannot answer. But if I ask you to tell me the names of scientists, yeah, you can certainly list out the name of the scientist. So, what I mean to say is the first scientist of the world is prehistoric man. The first scientist of the world is prehistoric man. Prehistoric man is we don't have information about the first scientist of the world. Who he is, what is his name, we don't know. And even we don't know when this science started, its humble journey. When, we don't know. Where, we don't know. But in some of the books, what you find written is science started when a man used two stones and a grass to get the fire. At that moment, the science started. In some places, this story has been presented. Right? Science started when a man in prehistoric age used two stones and grass to get the fire to cook the food that he had collected. This is the idea presented, but we cannot heavily depend on that. This is one idea, right? Okay. Now, why people go for different scientific inventions? To make our life easier in different spheres. You can find inventions, scientific inventions, millions, billions of scientific inventions. Why these are taking place? These are taking place to make human life easier in each and every field, in each and every aspects. That is why, due to these inventions, millions of inventions taking place every year, even every day, science grew richer and richer, and it has reached its golden age today. It has revolutionized people so thoroughly that we like to call this age as the age of science. It is science that tells the modern people how to live. It is the science that tells modern people how to live. Yes, look at this expression. We are totally human beings in the 21st century are totally guided by, controlled by the science and scientific inventions. It is the science that tells us how to live. Now you can take example of this situation as well. I'm presenting this story everywhere. So now there is a disease named COVID-19. So people should live, people should walk around by wearing mask, not without mask. Right? So this disease is this one, COVID-19, and it has some these symptoms and how it transmits. Yes, in this way. So people should be wearing, masks, face masks. It is the science which is telling us how to live. Now, students can take classes online, teachers can take classes online. Science instructed us, and we are living in that way or living in this way. You can talk to communicate with the people using different means of communications all the time. No need to meet them. Yeah, we are doing that. So it is the science that tells the modern people how to live. We are totally controlled, guided by science and scientific inventions. Our main focus will be on uses and misuse of science. Uses and misuses of science. We should be consistent. Okay. Now, how science has been used, you can easily tell. Science has been used, scientific equipments have been used everywhere nowadays in the 21st century. At homes, in the offices, even on the streets, everywhere, scientific equipments, you know, have been used. Science has modernized our homes. Talk about the fans, talk about washing machines, talk about gases, talk about refrigerators, talk about these lights, talk about fans, all these things, these are the product of science. And with the help of science, we have become able to live where the temperature is minus 10 degree and where the temperature is, 55, 60 degrees centigrade. Where there is too hot, where there is too cold. People have become able to live everywhere with the help of science, scientific inventions, these scientific equipments. Otherwise, it would not be possible. I already told you, science tells us how to live. If you are in a very, cold and hot places, use AC. Yes, you need AC for that. So science has modernized our homes. Science has helped us to live, to stay everywhere in the world, even in the very cold place, even in the very hot place. We have trains, buses, planes, motor cars. These have made our journey really quicker, more comfortable, and easier. We can travel from one place to another very quickly, very easily. We have different means of communications like radios, television, social medias, internet, all these things. These are the product of science. We can communicate, we can talk to people who are far from us. We can gather information from different areas, different field of study. We can learn, know, see all the things that are taking place around or in the world. Just by sitting in our room, we can know about the world. We can see what's happening around us. This has been made possible, or this has become possible only due to science and scientific inventions. Science has given us life saving drugs and different medical facilities. We have life saving drugs, we have different medical facilities. Look at the equipments and everything. You can take, an example as like last time, that uh, transplant, heart transplant, pig's heart in human body. Look at the miracle of science and scientific inventions. We have such a medical facilities, we have such equipments, we have such life-saving drugs. We can even go up to that point, right? Transplanting, pig's heart in human body, in human. That is really challenging, but it has become possible due to science, scientific equipments, scientific inventions. Right. If you can talk about, uses of science, you can certainly talk about misuses of science. Yes. So we have, different arms, aminals. These are the product of science. But people have used these arms aminals to take away the life of innocent people, to destroy, to ruin the world. It's not good. If you use these arms aminals to take away the life of innocent people, to destroy the world, to ruin the world, to create destruction, that is misuse of science. Yes, science has given us different industries, like, we have industries, these are the industries and equipments, these are the product of science. But the smoke produced by these industries is highly dangerous for human beings, dangerous for environment. This smoke produced by this pollution created by these vehicles, this is also harmful. And this industrial and vehicular pollution is a major harmful effect of the abusive uses of science. You can talk about two great world wars that took place in the world and killed, great number of people, thousands, millions of billions of people, and destroyed big cities, ruin the environment, ruin the world. You can take example of two bombs dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Little boy, fat man. Still after 70, 75 years, nothing grows there. So this is the misuse of science. We are using science to destroy the world, to ruin the world, to destroy the environment. Because we don't know how to use it properly. We have become, so much dependent on scientific equipments. Look now, physical relationship, physical touch with the people, have been, completely ruined by the excessive use of these social medias. This is also misuse of science. We don't have physical contact, physical touch with the people. With what you do, we want to live in virtual world. We make phone calls, we make video calls, but not physical touch. Youngsters, children, they, just waste immense time and energy watching television, surfing internet. Yes, internet, these television, these things are really important for the human beings because these help us to gather information uh, in different fields of study. These help gives us information about the world, about the society, about the culture. But if you cannot use them properly, that means this is total waste of time. So these different social media, these means of communications have been used to cheat people, to brainwash the mind of the people, to ruin the life of the people. This is misuse of science. Nowadays, these social medias have been used to cheat people, to betray people, to ruin their life, to brainwash the mind of the people. You can take an example of just that different social media. What do you find there? If you don't become careful, you find meaningless things there. If you cannot decide which one is correct, which one is not, you find most of the meaningless things there. But yes, if you are selective at that moment, these things can be a boon for the human beings. Okay, now this is all under use and misuse of science. Use and misuse of science. Now let me take you to another text, that is what Einstein did. Next text is what Einstein did. Now you can just work on this text, I know. Uh, Two questions are really important from this text. What is the contribution of Einstein to the modern scientific world? Einstein is the greatest genius of 20th century. Explain. These are two important questions. So if you can answer one, that means you can answer both. This text basically focuses on four papers of Albert Einstein presented by Einstein. And four papers, he includes his contribution. He talks about his ideas, theories, concepts, all these things in the four papers. Now, the text. The text, what Einstein did, is taken from the History of Knowledge, a general survey of 20th century science and technology. As the title suggests us, the text gives the general survey on the great deeds of popular scientist Albert Einstein. Furthermore, it tells a short history of Einstein, presenting him as both scientist and peacemaker. Scientist and peacemaker. Or scientists that Albert Einstein is pacifist. Explain. This is the question sometimes. Pacifist means Albert Einstein was always against wars, violence, and terrorism. He never supported war. He never supported violence. He always strived or tried his best to maintain peace, prosperity in the world. Now, what is the contribution of Einstein to the modern scientific world? His work, talk about his work, Brownian motion. You read out this text. I have written everything clearly. Go through this paragraph and focus on Brownian motion and how Brownian motion is applicable in different fields. Talk about composition of light. Einstein also focused on composition of light. Then talk about re- relativity theory, Einstein's relativity theory, where this theory is applicable in the modern scientific world. Talk about special relativity theory, where it's applicable. Talk about its formula E barabar mc square. E is equal to mc square. This is really applicable in composing atoms, atom bombs. So this is the contribution of Einstein to the modern scientific world. Here is the explanation. You go through the explanation. These are the works of Albert Einstein, like Brownian motion, composition of light, relativity theory, special relativity theory, that formula E barabar mc square. You talk about time dilation and all these things. Yes, these are the works of Albert Einstein. With this much of discussion, let me take you to another text. The text is, how much land does a man need? Very short text. Let me take you through this too. How much land does a man need? Okay, here it is. Now, you read out these two sentences, or three, four. Look, you read out these expressions. Okay, you read out this selected part. Then, yeah, this is the message of the text. This is the idea presented in the text. As I already told you, this is very short text. This is the idea. Now you read it out. You have just 2 minutes. Okay. Now let's discuss on this. The story, How Much Land Does a Man Need, written by Leo Tolstoy, focuses on the idea that human desire is limitless. Human greed has no limitations. They desire or they want to possess more and more. If they get X, they desire for Y. If they get Y, they desire for Z. They never remain satisfied with whatever they have. They want to possess more and more in their life. They want to possess something that they don't need in their life. Look at the human nature. We desire for something, we want to possess something, we want to have something that we don't need in our life. So human desire can never be fulfilled. And this excessive desire, or due to this excessive desire of achieving each and everything, human beings have lost spirituality, religiosity, and love as well as kindness towards others. They have become so much self-centered. They don't care about other people's feelings, emotions, and all these things, because all the time they want to uh, add some property. They want to have lots of land, property, money, buildings, all these things, though they don't need so much. These human beings are facing spiritual crisis nowadays because of their greed, because of their temptation for each and everything. They involve in crimes because they are greedy. They don't maintain good relationship with others because they are greedy. They face disputes because they are greedy. That means human beings want to possess more and more, and this habit, this nature of possessing each and everything, leads them to death. Let me read out these lines. I have clearly written here. The text deals with moral problems in the country life because of spiritual crisis created by human greed and temptation. It suggests us that human desire has no limitation. Man desires to take possession of more than they need in benefits of themselves. Thus, greed has no specific boundaries that ultimately lead life to death, or that ultimately leads humans to death. And according to Leo Tolstoy, nowadays all people are self centered, all people have excessive desire to achieve each and everything. But yeah, people in the city are more possessive than people in the village. People in the city always, people in the country always think about, just earning money, adding property, all these things. They just find adding property is the most important thing in their life. Same case with the villages, people living in the villages too. They are also self-centered, and people in the village also have become, really possessive. No, the writer presents the story of Pahom, the man named Pahom. He has small family but enough land. But the man wants to have more and more land, more and more land. And what he thinks is, look, if I had plenty of land, I shouldn't fear the devil himself. Look, now these people at present take property as everything. Property as everything. What they think is, if they have property, they will not have any problems. And if they possess more and more property, they will be more powerful than the gods, they will be more powerful than the devils. You look at the thinking of uh, the people at present. They are possessive. They want to possess more than they need, and they take property as everything. They take property over relations, relatives, near ones and dear ones. They take that property is more important than love and kindness. Now, this desire for possessing everything has created spiritual crisis among the human beings. They have forgotten their relations, they have forgotten their culture, they have forgotten their religion, they have forgotten their spirituality, everything in the name of possessing more and more. Okay, this is the idea presented in the text. I will add some of the things and upload the file. You go through it. And the question here is, what is the theme of the text? How much land does a man need? What is the theme? This text focuses on the idea. Theme means main idea focused. What is the main idea focused? Human desire has no limitation. Human beings are tempted to each and everything. You explain that. You can do. Okay. So this is all about how much land does a man need. Now let me take you to another text, the scientific attitude. The scientific attitude. Yeah, this is the last text for today. I will discuss rest of the text in our next class. The scientific attitude. Now this text suggests is it what the text is about. The scientific attitude. Here we are talking about the attitude, the qualities of scientists. Let me take you through some very important questions under this text. Look, these two questions are here. What do you mean by scientific attitude? What are the qualities of a good scientist? If you can talk about scientific attitude, you can talk about the qualities of scientist. If you can talk about qualities of scientist, you can talk about a scientific attitude. So this text revolves around the idea, that is, what is scientific attitude and what are the qualities of good scientist. Very short text. Okay. Okay. Now, what is scientific attitude? The attitude, or attitude that is characterized by creativity, objectivity, open-mindedness, skepticism, and willingness or curiosity is taken as scientific attitude. Human attitude that is characterized by creativity, objectivity, open mindedness, skepticism, uh, and curiosity or willingness is taken as scientific attitude. What are the characteristics of good scientists? Good scientists are creative. You should make it now adjective. Good scientists are creative. Good scientists are objective. Good scientists are open minded. Good scientists are skeptical, and good scientists are curious. When talking about scientific attitude, you include names, nouns, right? When talking about qualities, you form them or transform them into adjectives, right? So this is scientific attitude. So what is creativity? Creativity. What is this creativity? This creativity is, probably, creating something new. Out of very common things, scientists can create something very unique. They are inventive. They create, something for the betterment of the human and the society. Common people cannot come up with unique ideas in different situations, in some critical situations, but scientists, they can come up with creative ideas. They can come up with some findings, right? So they are creative. They take problem as opportunity and use their mind to create something new for the betterment, for the easiness of human beings. So creativity. Second one is objectivity. What is this objectivity? You become objective, not subjective. Scientists always become objective, not subjective. This objectivity means you support each and everything, or you support your ideas with facts, data, evidences, and necessary information. You just don't produce statements. Common people just produce statements. This is that. They don't tell why. They don't support their why idea, why they have come up with that idea. But scientists, this is the situation, this is the data, this is the evidence. So this must be that. They claim in this way. They are objective. So being objective means what is what it is to become subjective. Subjective means you talk about feelings, you produce statements on the basis of your feelings, emotions, your beliefs. That is taken as being subjective. When you depend on your beliefs, when you depend on your just experiences, when you depend on your emotions, that is subjectivity. Objectivity means you depend on facts, data, information. That is objectivity. You support each and everything that you put forward with data and facts. Open-mindedness. Open-mindedness means you welcome all the ideas. As a scientist, you welcome all the ideas, all the techniques to solve the problem. Yes, at the end, you become selective. You just decide which one is the most important one. But you welcome all the ideas. You welcome all the perspectives and try to solve problem in multiple ways. Then skepticism. Skepticism is another quality of scientists. Scientists are skeptical. They doubt on each and everything. They never remain satisfied with uh, they never remain satisfied without questioning anything. They are skeptical. What they do is, if we solve this problem, or if we can solve this problem by following X method, why we cannot solve this problem with the help of Y method? Yes, they are skeptical. They don't stick to single idea. They always question. Yes, if we can solve this problem with the help of this one, why don't we can solve this problem with the help of that one? This is skepticism. And this skeptical nature of scientists leads them to inventions, to create something new, to create something unique. Now, so probably you can see how we are getting sanitizers these days. In the beginning, we had just these bottles. After that, we got something unique. And nowadays, look, sensors. This is the product of, these things are the product of skepticism. Yes, if we can solve this problem this way, why don't we try our best to solve this problem in that way? Isn't that possibility? If you question that, you come up with unique idea, right? So these whatever inventions, whatever modifications in each and every field we observe, these results are the product of skepticism. Look at the transformation in these laptops and computers. Yes, if keypads work, why don't we go for the screen touch? Skepticism, invented, and addition. Then curiosity, yes. Yeah, curiosity is somehow synonymous to skepticism. You always have willingness to learn, willingness to come up with new ideas, yes, and you are curious. For example, apples falling off the tree. Why apple falls down? Why it doesn't go up? This is taken as curiosity. You question each and everything. You question. This willingness, curiosity, imagination can be put under the similar idea, right? This willingness, curiosity, imagination, these are similar things. You can take these things as different qualities or similar qualities, no problem with that. Scientists are curious. Look, yeah, under this skepticism, I forgot to tell you one thing, right? Scientist doesn't believe on whatever somebody presents. They always question. They become skeptical. Now, first, what was the idea? Was heliocentric, geocentric ideas. Like first, what we got? People live in the earth, so earth doesn't move. The sun moves around the sun. Sorry, the sun moves around the earth. This was the idea in the beginning. Probably you have heard about that. But scientists were skeptical about that. They made research, they questioned that, they challenged that, and came up with the idea that no, sun doesn't move. The sun is constant. Earth moves around the sun. They came up with this idea. This is the product of skepticism. Common people just believe, scientists question, they challenge. Yeah, they have curiosity, they always make research, they always uh, find mystery behind each and every action, they always find mystery behind each and every happening in the society. Common people just take that incident as incident, but find scientists find mystery behind each and every action, mystery behind each and every activities, mystery behind each and every uh, you know happenings around the world. They take problem as opportunity because they are curious. They have willingness to learn something because they are imaginative. They think beyond this physical world. This is the quality of scientists. Yes, you can include imagination also here, or you can talk about imagination under willingness and curiosity. This is all about scientific attitude. Here, a person with scientific attitude wants to know not only about the universe, but also wants to find out how and why the universe works. So, scientists, I already told you, never remain satisfied with what. They always question why. And that leads them to some of the findings and good outcomes. So, you just try to address these two questions, and that will be enough. Okay, I presented so many things today. Speaking, alone is very tough. So we have wrapped up knowledge and wisdom, the mother of iterator, of studies, use and misuse of science, what Einstein did, how much land does a man need, and the scientific attitude. Okay. With this much of discussion, I wrap up the class. This class. Okay. I just end the class here. In our next class, we need just one more class to discuss on these remaining text: civil peace, the lady with the pet dog, state and crooked thinking, the miracles of grass, freedom, and chain reaction. In our next class, we will be dealing with these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 texts. These are really short text. This much for today. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Stop recording. Yes.